sky's not blue.
Welcome back to the Cult House Podcast. I'm your host, the Scholar of Spite and the Saturday Night Delight, Roger Riddell. Joining me today, she's the bassist and vocalist for Georgia's Royal Thunder, Mlny Parsonz. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm digging this Metallica photo in the background. It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's like one of the original Black Album like record store promo posters.
That's
I
cool.
had
Like,
a friend in my hometown who like ran the record store that I went to growing up.
mhm.
And like a month before he was gonna have to shut the store down in like 2009, he just gave me that poster. He was like, "Yeah, you can have this if you want it."
Cool. I like
Yeah.
Kirk Hamlet leaning up against the wall. Cool.
Yeah, it's like just a few years before they went like even more into like early mid 90s like alt model mode with load.
Yeah. It's funny because I have a tattoo on my stomach. It was the first time I ever got to see Metallica, being a huge fan of them since I was like a little kid. I was 17 and I bought two tickets to the show and had my best friends go with me, and they hated Metallica. They were like skater dudes. They're like, "Dude, this sucks, this sucks," and I'm like on it. But it was the Load tour in 1997. But that was the first time I could ever like get my own tickets and go see them. I was so excited. I got home and I took a razor blade and I carved into my stomach Metallica 42297 and took Indian ink and smeared it on my stomach. And my stomach was swollen for like probably 2 weeks, just infected. It healed eventually, and it's still there. It looks like somebody drew it on with a pencil, but oh, so I fuck with Load. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna.
It's one of my favorite Metallica albums. Like it's honestly when I met Stavros from Atlas Moth, obviously, but just for like
Man,
context
back.
for listeners. But yeah, when I met him in like 2011, that was like the first thing that we bonded over was we both figured out that we like that album a lot.
It's funny because in the green room, the last night of that run we did with them recently, Load did come up, and you could see a little bit of like people in there trying to read the room, like, should I say this or should I not? I'm like, I'm into it, man. I get it. When I was like younger, I made fun of it, but as I got older, I was like, yeah, it's not so bad. It's not terrible. It's actually good. I like it. I respect it. Even Reload, I'll give them Reload too. But after that, it kind of just stops paying attention. Not gonna say good or bad, but
I think the biggest problem that with load that or at least this is what I assume is like everyone's biggest issue with it is that James got like way more introspective and like writing a lot more about his emotions and it just wasn't like manly enough for like the pure like thrash dudes anymore.
yeah, I can't really talk shit on that. But definitely guilty of writing about my emotions. But I've always done that, so I didn't switcheroo. Maybe I should start just like singing about cobras or something. Less meaningful to me.
Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. How many songs about Cthulhu can like a band write too, though? Like, I feel like eventually you have to move on. But then at the same time, like everyone loves, I mean, I love Slayer too, but like everyone loves Slayer despite the fact that they've made the same album like 15 times.
It feels good every time though, so fuck
Yeah.
it.
I mean, yeah, it worked for AC/DC too. Every album after Back in Black is like Back in Black Junior.
Yeah, Back in Black Junior. It's a good dog name. Back in-
So yeah, no, speaking of the most recent tour at that Empty Bottle show, like it just stuck out to me how tight you all sounded, even though like I guess y'all are like a three-piece now, but like the sound was still like just as thick as when I saw y'all the first time back in 2018, which was also with Atlas Moth at like DC9 back when I was
Yeah,
living out in Virginia.
yeah. I don't get to. hear the other side of it, the front of house aspect of it, but I'm happy to hear that it sounds like a full plate of food, you know? Like I like that. And we've always felt really comfortable being a three piece, and it kind of feels like our sweet spot. I've also really enjoyed having other people with us on stage, be it keyboard, Spencer, like guitar players that we've had in the past, our homies that have played with us. But the three piece feels like it makes the most sense to me. But that's not to say that's always going to be a thing. Our door is just kind of rotating, and we're just letting stuff sling in there. If it catches something that we like or that works for what we're doing, then we'll go with it. But you never know. Three piece is going to be the most common choice that we'll make. But
No, I kind of love when a band is able to have that flexibility too, though. Like, Motorhead kind of had that going like all through the 80s, where like one album cycle they might have like a second guitarist and a keyboardist, and then
yeah,
like they might be back to a three piece the next album cycle, you know?
yeah. I mean, why limit yourself? I don't. I don't feel like as musicians we're the kind of musicians that care what genre we fit in or try to fit into a genre, or I'm not saying we're too cool, but we're just cool about it. Like it's not uh, we're just gonna do whatever we want, and that's been the beauty and kind of a curse for our band because it's hard to like the higher ups when they want to work with you and put you where they let's be real, where the money is, like if they don't know what to do with you, then it gets a little like it matters to them. But we've always been just kind of doing our own thing, and no matter where it goes, it's gone to a lot of places that have brought us, a sense of fulfillment in what we do. Like get to travel and like meet other cool bands, long lasting friendships over the years, like with people in the scene. It's and get to like express ourselves and like put our art out there. It's pretty fucking cool. I mean, if this is it, that's fucking great.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's kind of always just stuck out to me about you all is that y'all can be like kind of weird and psychedelic at times, but then it's still like accessible and like recognizable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's cool. That's good news.
Yeah. No, like I was talking to my friend Eddie on the way back from that Empty Bottle show, and we were just talking about like that whole, I guess, kind of Savannah sound from around the time that y'all like first appeared, and like the best way that I could like kind of describe it, but still I don't think it fully like does justice to your all sound was like kind of like if Baroness had like Janis Joplin singing for them.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, oh no, yeah, I think I just like interrupted you when you were about to say something.
Oh no 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 no.
Oh,
I just thought that was a funny comment, but like, uh, growing up, like it's funny because like I grew up playing like a lot of metal. I was in a lot of like death metal and grindcore bands and stuff where the songs were like 30 seconds, and like I just I didn't sing. I was always screaming, and I didn't start out as like a singer. Um, and I'd go get in these bands, and we'd go play like these underground warehouses, like in Atlanta. A gem back in the day was like C11 and like the Ida Phi House and the Parasite and like all these crazy like just like DIY like gross slimy like ramps in there and railroad tracks behind the warehouses where people were doing drugs, and just it was a cool thing to sneak into when you're 13 and you steal like your best friend's brother's rabbit and like drive downtown only knowing how to use like the first and second gear and the stick shift. And like going to these things and the gate opening and then being like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "We're here to see Damn It and Ass Suck and like we're here to see all these like bands that were uh like 4 Hour Fogger and like bands that like Kai Lessa came out of and Mastodon and all that. Um, being a part of that and growing up in that and having those metal roots and that like crust punk roots and not knowing Josh at the time, but meeting him in that scene like when we were 18 and he had this like crust punk band and we were just like, oh, what the fuck are these kids? Like, it's just interesting how we grew up and what pieces of that journey stuck with us that you maybe don't necessarily hear. You're not going to hear like grindcore, or you might. I don't know. I've been getting a little screamy lately, but I think that's just where I'm at. But I love that history that we have has it like always follows us, and I think it's what makes our art unique because we have that, but then we're growing as people, and it like kind of influences that, and they just kind of give back and forth to each other. I think I'm kind of rambling. I am a little sick, so my head's a little spacey, but um, if I'm rambling and it doesn't make sense, I'm sorry. But
Oh no, like it makes sense to me. Yeah.
okay, cool. I guess that's just I don't know why I'm rambling about that. I guess your comments are making me think a lot about like our sound and like why it is the way it is, maybe, or where it comes from. But that might not even be what you're talking about. But
Yeah. Well, no, it's like it's not that it's like it's very authentic and that none of it feels like it's like a predetermined sound. Like it's just kind of like when you talk about, the influences and the backgrounds that y'all have just now, it's kind of like, yeah, I can kind of see where that plays into the way that you all sound now, where it's just kind of an evolution of you all growing over the years as musicians and like being able to like broaden your range, you know?
mhm. I hope to always be able to do that. Like, there's a couple songs from the EP that we're revisiting right now. So I really, really prefer not to listen to our music because I just it's not that I don't like it, it's just a weird thing to do unless you're using it to like practice. But I've been listening to the EP and a couple older songs, just trying to like see which one like stands out to like want to do. And I'm like, man, we were such like babies back then. Like I remember Josh kind of like getting into soloing on the EP and like I was getting into like vocal like layering of like backgrounds and different voices I was using to like create this piece and how tiny and like pure my voice sounded. It's like it was such a I thought it was really I don't know, kind of endearing to go back and like see and know where I was as a person and what life looked like back then. And I've always felt that way about making music. It's just it's like a time stamp of like where you are in life. And I'm changing so much as a person, and I've changed so much in the past like 2 or 3 years. And Josh has evolved quite a bit himself, and I can hear it. So I wonder what this next era of like new music will be like. Um, I can't even imagine it. I never can. I never can.
Yeah. I mean, that kind of reminds me of I guess it was a few years ago, there was this Trent Reznor interview that I heard where he was talking about how like there's always a subset of a fan base for any band that wants like for him it's like the downward spiral like part two or whatever, but he's like I can't make that because I'm not that person anymore, and like every one of those albums is like kind of just like a autobiography of where he was at that point in his life, and like it's basically like what you were saying too.
Yeah, it sure is. And And also that makes it a little difficult sometimes to like go back and listen to stuff, if only for the purpose of like practice, and trying to remember like lyrics and parts and stuff like that. But it's sometimes like, have you ever had one of those albums that like you listen to it and it's like you hear it at one point in your life and it's a message like for you that's like for you on your side, and you're listening to this album over and over again, and then maybe some time goes by and you listen to that album and then you start to feel like the song is singing about you, and now you're the boogeyman or you're the monster and you're not the like, hey, it's gonna be cool, don't worry. It's like, hey, it's gonna be, and you're on the other side being like, I'm the problem. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I can't listen to certain songs. I'm like, I was pointing the finger for a long time in this direction, and then now I'm like, fuck, it's you, dude. Like, now you're the bad guy. Like, I I struggle with that. Like, and some albums for me have been ruined over the years because not our music, but just in general because of that. Like, it's hard to go back sometimes, and I don't know how worth it is to like. Isn't there that saying that's like, um, what's the saying about the like talking about the past is for like simple minded, or like the talking about people. There's some kind. It's like associated with like the level of intelligence or your mind or the kind of person you are. Um, I guess sometimes what I'm trying to say, going back could be a bad feeling
Yeah.
and maybe not such a productive thing to do. I'm playing with a catnip toy now. I hate it.
Yeah, no, that kind of reminds me of like one of my favorite lines that I've like ever read was of all places from an article about Mike Tyson, but it was something along the lines of like the past is a foreign country and sometimes you can't return because you were expelled from it.
I like that. That feels very freeing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that has something to do with like more than letting go, but for lack of a better way of describing it, like I think that has something to do with maybe being like, yeah, that happened. That I was that. I did that. And that's okay. I'm not doing that now. Like, feels good to be expelled
Yeah.
sometimes.
Because it's like you did the thing and then you learned from it, but like you can't move forward if it's all that you ever think about. Like you just have to take that lesson and move forward and either like don't do the thing that didn't work again or like figure out what worked and like keep doing that, you know?
Yeah. I am all about learning from my mistakes. I spent a long time hating myself and living in a lot of regret. A lot of regret. Now, this is like recent. This is within the past year. I just kind of woke up to the idea of like, of that, of being like, okay, not, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. And like replaying it over and over and over again in my mind to the point where I'm like, on a physiological level, like going through it again, or I just woke up one day and was like, okay, I did that. I did the past. And it was pretty hairy and gross and bad. And I've changed and I don't want to do that again. Like you're saying, that's just the beauty of learning from your mistakes. And um, I don't know. I wonder if now that I'm thinking that way, I wonder if my writing will change, you know, like
Yeah.
lyrically. I wonder what that'll look like because I definitely I don't hate myself for my past. And I'm sorry once, I try not to go back to it and be like, God, I'm so sorry. It's like, no, my sorry the first time was real. I mean it. And
Yeah. Well, yeah, because like if you feel like you have to keep apologizing to people for the same things over and over again, like that's kind of like its own prison too.
you're probably not sorry if you keep saying sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like sorry multiple times feels kind of selfish to me. that's you trying to like reset your own mind. You're not really doing it for the other person, in my opinion, at that point. It's more you're doing it to remind yourself like that you're not bad, but you don't believe that.
Yeah. So like I know that, 2023 is rebuilding the mountain. That was like the first album that you wrote after getting sober, right?
Hmm.
What was the writing process like as far as differences that you noticed in the way that you approached it, if anything?
Um, well, to be honest, I was sober for that album. I almost made it to 30 days. I think that album recording it took us about 3 weeks. And it was my first, like towards the end of like my like body breaking down pretty hardcore in January. Like before that was when we made the album, and I was like always wanting to get sober. Well, not always. That's not true. Let me back up. For like at least 3 to 4 years, I was like, "I want to get sober one day. I want to get sober," and something in me kept being like, "You got to get sober, or this, and this," and I like ignored the voice in my head. But I was sober during the making of that album, and then one day at the very end of it, I was working on one song and I just couldn't get anything for the song. I couldn't do it. Right? I mean, we played it at that show. It's the instrumental song. Um, I could not find the words. And I was at the studio and I was stuck and stuck and stuck and stuck on this song. And nothing ever came out. And I ended up drinking. I was like, I called Josh and it's like, hey, can't, I got nothing. I got nothing on this song. And I just ended up, I think it was self-sabotage because I instantly like hung up and immediately started drinking. And it got worse and worse and worse. And like the drug use got really bad again. And I jumped right back into it. And then I think it was a week after we made that Fade music video. That music video, I was very, very fucking sick. I was like peeled off of a couch a few hours before we started filming that. And um I was like the worst kind of like hungover in the world during the making of that video. And it wasn't until like shortly after that you know, they say come to Jesus situation. It was like a come to Jesus with me, like with Royal Thunder. It was like you're either going to rehab or you're gonna do something, but this band is like on hold until you figure this shit out. And I was like, all right, okay, I'll, and I didn't go to rehab, but I went to AA for like a year. It helped. And then I stopped because I was like, I'm gonna white knuckle this shit because I got my head wrapped around what I want now. So sorry for the long-winded stuff, but it changed because in the studio it changed because that was the first time in like years that I had felt like stripped of my vices and the things that I would normally like, oh, I'd be sober in the studio, but then I would go home at night and probably like drink or do coke, whatever I felt like doing. And then I'd come back in the morning and do my job. But that wasn't the case. I didn't have that. I was just like raw dogging it with no anchor to anything. No, it felt meaningless. It was like actually we talked about it the other day. Josh and his girlfriend were like, we thought that was the one. We thought that was like your you were like for real sober that time. I was like, I think I thought that, but um the writing process changed because I was like I felt lost. I felt very lost. But I was talking finally.
Does it I guess sort of become more difficult to tour like since you've gotten sober, or like are there any challenges that you've run into with like your sobriety on tour?
No, I mean, I'll hit like some NA beers sometimes. That doesn't trigger me or bother me at all. Sometimes when I first got sober, that was the only thing that kept me sober was like I gotta trick my brain into thinking I'm getting fucking hammered right now, and I would drink like six NA beers really fast. Like I was like I struggled a lot, a lot, a lot, a lot. I struggled a lot, but I didn't give in. Um, or I didn't. I shouldn't say I didn't give in. It's more like I didn't make that choice, and I just kept that neural pathway just kept getting you know hit over and over and over again. Like, fuck, I want to get fucked up, and then I'd be like, no, 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 and eventually it just kind of was like, I don't really care. And never has it bothered me to be around somebody fucked up, drunk. I could see the first few times I saw piles of coke in front of me, I was like, ugh, like, it was hard. But I just kind of realized, not kind of, I definitely realized like that shit for me first of all, would kill me. Like all the nervous system damage I did and the nerve issues I had, all the fucking like, shitting out lumps of clear fucking fatty pieces of whatever body organ was coming out, blood, all it was throwing up, everything was coming out, and none of it was cool. Um, but so I think about that. I think about my health. I think about my brain and how my brain has fucking changed. Like I wow, like my ability to communicate and like speak started to like deteriorate towards the end. A lot of that came back. I feel like I got lots of pieces of myself. A lot of that was unfamiliar. Um, so I started like collecting all these good things about being sober that were happening, and I like it. I like it a lot. I like having my brain. I like myself, which is real fucking cool to be able to say. Nothing's perfect. I'm not perfect. That's not ever going to happen. But no, on the road, it's not a struggle. Like, I feel like some of my vocal range came back. Like, that was weird and cool. And I didn't feel like deserving of that because I really was mean to my throat. But I'll take it. I don't know. I feel like I wanted to at first like pick up where I left off and do a sober version of that. And I tried that and I was dead inside. I was like, this is not, I was like, oh fuck, this isn't me anymore. I just got to figure out who I am. And I did the work, and I'll always hope to be growing into something. I don't want to be this version of myself a year from now. I hope it's cooler.
Yeah.
It's so, no, I mean, it's not been easy, but it's mostly been easy. And when it's hard, I got my homies to like remind me of all the good things. And then, or if I'm in the mood, I can remind myself, it's okay to have that struggle and that want and that feeling. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with wanting to get fucked up the times I do. The times I do want to. I'm comfortable with that feeling. I'm comfortable with being uncomfortable. It might be
Yeah.
my muse.
No, that makes sense. So around the time that you started getting sober, like that would have been during the pandemic, right?
Oh no, during the pandemic, I was lit. I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
yeah, no, I was I the whole time. Yeah, no, I didn't get sober until February 2nd, 2023.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure like where that like coincided with like I remember I guess it was 2021. I think you had done like a few of the 2 minutes to late night like covers, and I didn't know if like that was during the time that you were like starting to get sober or not.
Oh no, no. I think no. No. I was drunk for a couple of those, few of those. Uh, I was just I was actually really terrible about um the commitment to doing those, and I was very fucking late, like sending things to Jordan and his team. Like I was very unreliable, and they were incredibly patient and gracious. But no, I was not. That was not sober times at all.
Yeah, I think part of it was that I was gonna ask like if being able to do those during the pandemic helped in any way with like having some sort of like creative outlet. Because like obviously you couldn't tour at the time, and like I think I heard somewhere else that y'all might have even like Royal Thunder might have kind of been split up around that time too.
Yeah. So the 2 minutes to late night experience and opportunity pretty much made me, as much as I wanted to fucking die during that time, because I was like, I don't have my therapy, my music. I don't have my outlet. I don't have anything, and I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do because I don't know how to do life without that release. And had it not been for 2 minutes to late night, I really think I would have been pretty bad off. I was already bad off, but it. I would have been real bad. And it helped me explore a different side of my like vocals, and it pushed me to do things that were different. And I'm always inspired by Jordan's drive and creativity and like authenticity. That is one of the hardest working dudes I've ever met, like in the business, and just so excited and so pumped and such a fucking cool person. It like was never uncool, and it was always just super supportive. Like I remember a time where I did get sober, and I don't think that was like my real sober date, but like I think it was maybe before that. I had a couple runs with it, and he was just always a good friend to me through it. And um, yeah, that was a really a very like soul saving opportunity, and I'm very grateful for it. And as far as splitting up, Royal Thunder, so me and Will, these guy that Zoroaster Will with the long white beard,
Yeah.
I love him. He and I were sitting at this place that I was working at. I was a cook at this like restaurant. I like to call it the Wild Wild West, but it was a fun place to work until it wasn't. And we were sitting there after a shift, and me and him were just drinking. And Josh walks in. Josh had just gotten sober, and he was just not really around that much. And he came in, he was like, "Hey guys, just so you know, like I want Royal Thunder. I want us to like stop being a party band and like try to go sober and like really try to just be more grateful for what we have and not shit on it by just like getting hammered and getting on stage and blah blah blah." He's like, "I'm just asking." I think at the time it was just like, "Don't drink. Can we go back to not drinking before we play?" And maybe just let it be like a back burner thing, but not the thing that we revolve this whole band around. Because I really love this band and I want to see it last. And we just bottoms up and we're like, "No, we're not doing that. I'm sorry, if you want to be sober, that's cool. We don't want to be sober." And he's like, "Okay." He respected that, and he got up and he left. Me and Will were like, we're not doing this. No, I'm not gonna, me, you not drink, like, fuck that. So it was just like silence, it was like, oh, I guess we're not, oh, I don't know what's going on. Well, Josh had gone and started jamming with other musicians. And I remember asking him, like, "Can I be in your band? Like, is it Royal Thunder or what? Like, what are you doing?" He's like, "I don't know if it's Royal Thunder. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what I'm gonna do." And he's like, "But I'm gonna keep playing." And he did, and then I started to see how serious he was about like, I'm not fucking this up again. And he sat on the fence for a long time about like, am I going to do this or am I going to do Royal Thunder? Is it going to be Royal Thunder without like the members that are in it now, or is it going to be like a new Royal Thunder? And he was torn. He was like really torn. And I'm not saying any of that was Will's fault. It was a lot my fault because, Josh and I have been together in this band, you know, as bandmates like this whole time. And for, 20 years it's been a band. And a lot of that was shared with Evan, our old drummer too. He was there as a drummer for most of the years out of any other drummers we had. He was the most long, came back twice. Well, we played with him twice. We had that split first time and then the second time. But um, so that was something we were all, especially the three of us, very committed to and like to making it work. But yeah, the rumors were true, but I think they were true for a lot of people. Like a lot of disbanding was happening and people, you can't get together. Like, fuck, what do you have? But which makes me think of like the Atlas Moth, like how, not a pandemic situation or just a situation where it's like, I don't know, should we do this again? And it's fucking cool. I'm really proud for bands that is like them, for example, that like you got these talented people, these very cool people, these like they're just laying it down and they have been for, years and years and years, just like road dogging and in it. I'm just so proud of the ones that can like pull out of it if they have the means to and like the support. It's like, dude, just come back. Like you never weren't there. Just come back and do it again. Like come play some shows and like be a band. There's hope for it when it fucking falls apart sometimes. And sometimes there ain't, but you know.
No, like I love like throughout all of that too, like it just sounds like Josh is like a very like integral like person in your life and just like super reliable and like supportive of you, you know?
Oh, I don't think I've ever had anybody, we were married for a long time. Um, but we haven't been together in a long time. Um, it's become such a beautiful friendship. Like honestly, we've become very much like brother and sister. And uh, to quote his girlfriend, it's like being in the movie Step Brothers, apparently. Uh, so she's like, "You guys are fucking Step Brothers." It's like, so that's who we are now with each other. And I've never really had. I don't. I hope I'm getting this right, but no, I am getting this right. He is the longest lasting friendship and sense of like family and brotherhood and like real loyalty to someone. He is somebody that has always had my back, even when I haven't had his in the past. And uh, he's always had my back. He's never done me dirty. And he's been a musical inspiration to me. And a lot of uh, doors have opened within me creatively just from his songs, like he sits on the guitar and writes his songs, and then he's like, "Oh, I got a song. You guys want to jam?" It's like, cool. And then everything comes after that. But those songs have like pulled something out of me, and like he's inspired me since like the day I met him. That's why it's like I've played with a lot of people. I've done a lot of cool shit. I like love making music, like collaborating. I'll do it all day long. I really have fun doing that. But like when it comes to throwing my anchor down or like my roots, it's already been done. But like that's where I really sink into that, like into Royal Thunder and making music with Josh, because I get it. It's like an unspoken connection we have that it's just a bond that I don't have with anybody else on so many levels. He's been like my family, you know, and
Yeah.
my brother and my brother in music, you know. He's in that. I give really long-winded answers,
Yeah.
by the way.
Oh no,
I'm sorry.
that's perfect though. I mean, like, yeah, that's what I always like prefer. But no, like the just like musical chemistry between you all is just like super noticeable when you're on stage because when you guys are like locked in, like that's one of those things where I think it's why Royal Thunder sounds so tight live is that like you can tell that you all are just like on the same page musically and you're both just like really enjoying that whole like process of performing what you've written too.
Yeah, it's very freeing. It's nice to just check out, and it's like when you find that sweet spot in playing music where it's like something somewhere just like tears open, and you're like connected to that frequency, whatever it is, wherever it comes from. It's really cool when you're on stage and you're like, oh, I'm there. There it is. Like we're in it, and I can feel him in it. I'm like, there we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's really it's a good thing. It's been a good thing in my life, and I'm glad it's still there. And I'm glad I didn't blow it up. I've blown a lot of things up, but I'm glad I didn't blow that one up.
There's the first album of your alls that I got into was Crooked Doors, and a lot of that was because I had a friend who I think sent me a link to a YouTube video for Time Machine, and she was like, "Yo, check this out," and like it immediately like hooked me in. And one of the things that just like I've always wondered about that I think I read on your all's Wikipedia page was that some of the lyrics on that album are about like being in a religious cult.
Mm, CVI was that, and it trickled into Crooked Doors as well. But Crooked Doors was a little more like now now we're not scared. Like I'm not afraid or like confused. Now I know what happened and I'm gonna tell the story, but it's gonna be from an empowered position. Like not so much like what the fuck is going on. It's like, oh I know what's going on. Like, but yeah, that was Crooked Doors. Crooked Doors, man, go back to the EP thing or like even Crooked Doors, it's like some of those songs, whoa, they're like 10 minutes long. Like they're really long, but they're stories. I feel like it made sense for like the layers and all the nuances. There were things that were being said that weren't just like cut and dry, like the end. Like I didn't have that. I didn't have the ability to tell the story that way. But yeah, that's what a lot of that was. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Is it
really long.
like actual experience?
The cult.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So there's I don't know the name of the song, but there was the one song, Two Hands on the Back while I'm going through your mind. I was actually in this room with 4 or 5 other women. One of them's on the fucking internet looking up Santeria, like all this stuff from my Spanish roots and all these like what curses can we break in her family? And they took me through. I was hypnotized, and they took me. They had my arms on the wall, and they told me that I was chained by angels, and that I had to tell them everything and all this stuff. And I went through an elevator in my mind, and I got out on the first floor, and they're like, "Get out, like walk around. What do you see?" And then I'd get back on and they took me all the way up to 20 something years, and they fucked with my head so bad, and then I'd freak out. I'd like try to get out of these rooms, and they thought I was possessed, and they'd pick me up by the feet, by the arms, put a foot in my face and say, "Kiss the holy foot of blessed by Jesus." And put me in these rooms and take legions of demons out of me and pray over this and this and this. And everyone, when I first came out, was talking about it from that church. Not everyone, but a good bit. Were like, oh, they even get online on their website. We're not a cult, but that motherfucker's in prison. Like, come on. Like, the leader. And I don't give a shit about saying stuff like this, but it's like you're in prison and you get out because you're you're a rat, not a snitch, but a rat.
Yeah.
And like you've never been good and you knew what you were doing the whole time and you were a cult and you did fuck with people. And that's the truth. And that came out to be the truth, over time. But yeah, no, that was I'm I am not creating this reality or story. I tell the truth. Like that's what I'm very passionate about. Maybe too passionate sometimes, but um yeah, no, that happened. There's a lot that happened. That's just like that was towards the end of it.
Yeah.
And um I don't know. I think it if anything, it could be used hopefully to help people. I think having a lot of us been like fucked with by religious organizations, religious people. I would venture to say most people like us, I'm boiling it down to like our scene, Uh, I think there's probably a lot of those kinds of experiences out there, but I don't have an issue with anyone, whatever religion they are, whatever spiritual practice or not. I don't give a fuck. I give a fuck about what I'm doing, and I just want to be respectful and be respected. And the minute you're not, and you're uncomfortable, and you don't like something, and it's not good for you, you can dip.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing sometimes to do to make a choice. Like, but if you are it's stuck in something that makes you feel like shit, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
I sound like a hypocrite because I get stuck in some shit sometimes. And I don't do anything about it, and I'm like, oh, I just want to fucking complain about it. Just listen to me. I'm just waiting. It's like everyone has. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but like, there's sometimes you have more choice than you think you do, and more power than you think you do.
No, I
And
grew up in like
even
Kentucky around like the Southern Evangelical Church, and like that stuff gets like super culty too. Like I remember when I was in second grade, like it all just started seeming weird to me when I was like sitting in church and like the preacher's up there, like I could feel the Lord telling me that someone else wants to give some more money to the church. And it's all going to his like paycheck or whatever. And it's always like the poorest people in the church that are getting guilted into giving more money because they're being told that they'll be like rewarded for doing it.
yeah,
Like it's all just like I don't know, it's there's like degrees of fuck upness to like all of it.
yeah, to everything really.
Yeah.
I mean, you put some humans in the mix, and it's gonna be fucked up.
Yeah.
Some we're not we're not meant to be perfect. We're meant to be flawed. That's part of it. But I think the beauty lies in the growth.
So are y'all working on new music now?
Mhm. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see these spiral stairs lead to Josh's lair, where him and his lady live. And I live down here. Mm, so he's really good about like pretty much first thing he does when he gets home from work is plays guitar. And he's always playing like older stuff, going through, always fucking with his gear. He's a little gearhead, but he will also play like new stuff. And we've had um, me and Shep and Josh are in the practice room. We on this last run we were gonna add. We had three on top of the two new that we played. We had or three new. We had, I think, three more, two or three more. So there's like a lot of music circulating, but it's not like quite ready to be played live. We almost played, no, the first night we did play one song that like I hadn't even done the vocals in the band room yet. And I was like, all right, guys, just trust me. I got this. And then we did that song. It was fine, but it's still not there. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of new songs coming through, and they're leaning towards heavier so far. It feels like a little bit like a perfect mix of like everything we've ever done.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting. I always suspected that things would get a little heavier, but I think that comes with that more like, yeah, like just feeling like more secure, you know, in ourselves. It's like just, I don't know, feels good to be like, yeah, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm stoked to hear what that's gonna end up sounding like.
Me too. Because I'm telling you, like vocally, I have to like stop myself. I want to tap into like little grindcore metal, and I'm like, no, that's not sustainable. I can't do that. That's to describe how I feel about how some of the stuff I want to let out like feels like that. But I'll shred my voice if I go there
Yeah.
every night for like, you know, on a tour. I ain't no Stavros, let's just say that. That motherfucker is like, first of all, let's talk about this guy. Okay. He's like, I don't know, man. It's like Tony Soprano on acid kind of vibes. Like I just fucking love that dude. Like
Yeah.
he on this run, I just love that banter. We had like really good banter, just fucking with each other. And they're just, uh, I don't know. Starburst is really awesome. But that voice, man, like I have to plug this in because this happened to me last Zoom meeting and I disappeared. Oh, I'm not going to lose you here.
Yeah. No, his voice kind of reminds me of like it's kind of similar to like Danny Filth, where like I can't believe that that dude's voice still sounds like it does after like 30 years.
Yeah. But that like Stavros screech,
Yeah.
like the screecher, yeah. That dude's pretty awesome. I'm really, really happy for him, like to have that power still. And like I'm really happy for the Atlas Moth that they're doing it. And I hope that they felt like on this run that they were missed, and that people
Yeah.
are still down. Because it's
Yeah,
true.
it seems like they've got like a whole new, I guess, sort of lease on life for that band with Marcus replacing Dave, which I mean, I like Dave a lot, but I also just always kind of, even just, hanging around those dudes, I just always kind of got the vibe from him that he would rather just be at home, most of the time.
Yeah, I think most people feel that way.
But like I've
Um,
known those dudes so long that like the only tattoo that I have is their logo.
that's the only tattoo you have?
I need to get more of them and I just haven't gotten around to
You
it.
gotta
Like
get a
I want to
Stavros.
do like sleeves and shit, but it's just like
Josh
finding the
does tattoos.
time.
Sorry, I'm talking over you.
Oh no, go ahead.
Oh, Josh does tattoos, so and I claim to do tattoos, but I my motto is I can do a tattoo for you, but you might be mad. It's not perfect. I've done a lot of stuff on my legs and they're fun. I mean, tattoos are supposed to be fun. They're not supposed to be like, it's blown out. Oh my God, I gotta get a touch up. Like, fuck
Yeah.
that. So I like your tattoo. That's cool.
Yeah. No, I've speaking of just like doing tattoos on yourself and like just like goofy ones or whatever, one of my favorite things has just always been the story about Ozzy getting smiley faces on his kneecaps so that he wouldn't feel alone.
Um, was he ever alone? I mean, fuck.
I think it was when this was when he was like in his late teens when they first started Black Sabbath. So it's just like one of those like Black Sabbath like legends or whatever.
Yeah. I got this. Can you see this tattoo? It's
Yeah.
biting the head off of a bat. I got that when I was 17. I went into this like biker tattoo shop and I was like, can I get a tattoo? Me and my friend Abigail. They're like, how old are you? I'm like, 18. And they're like, you sure? Yeah. And they gave us tattoos. She got like this weird mandala thing on her leg. When we went to school, I cut every one of my shirts. I cut the sleeves off. I went into school. I was like the only kid with a tattoo. And I had like my Sabbath shirt on and that, and everyone was like, "Whoa, how'd you get a tattoo?" I know some bikers. Yeah, I'm fucking such a dork.
Dude, I love how much mileage Ozzy's gotten out of that whole bat thing over the years, just out of like being too high to like not notice that it wasn't a rubber bat.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I tattooed it on myself. It's
Yeah.
the only tattoo I have. Wouldn't that be great? It was at one point. I should have stopped because that would be a good like only tattoo. And the Metallica, like those two, I'm done.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that tattoo alone should at least get you like some sort of like entry to that final Ozzy show, you know?
Yeah, I'll use it as like a like please. Maybe there'll be a contest one day. It's like best Aussie tattoo, and you
Yeah.
get into the show for free. Maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, I've had you for about an hour now. I don't want to take up your whole
Oh
evening.
shit, for
So
real?
yeah.
Damn. Okay, cool.
But yeah, is there anything else that you want to put out there before I let you go?
I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, I have a lot of thoughts like all the time, so that's kind of a dangerous question. But no, I'm stoked to have met you, and Stavros speaks very highly of you, and I'm glad we got to do this because I don't really do that many interviews anymore. I recently did one with John Garcia, and I love talking to that dude, but I kind of miss like just the chatty little like, what's up, little update, little drop in the hat kind of thing. But yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah. No, we'll do this again when the New World Thunder is going to come out too. So I'll stay in
Cool.
touch.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time too.
Yeah, thanks, Mel.
All right, later, bye.
More of you, more.